My favorite way to travel between New York City and Washington, D.C. is of course to take Amtrak. The trains are fast, they're very comfortable, and if you book far enough in advance, you can get tickets for a very affordable price. However, sometimes I still find the ticket prices a little bit too high, so then I look for alternative ways to get between the two cities. Recently, I've been really coming to appreciate Megabus. Not only are Megabus fares very low, sometimes I've found them for less than $10, Megabus also uses these very large double-deck buses, and for a small fee, you can actually reserve a seat upstairs by the front window, which is very comfortable and cool. Grammar police, open up! Oh, hello, officer. Good afternoon. We got a complaint of you using the wrong tense in your monologue. I'm sorry, what do you mean? Well, you keep using the present tense to talk about Megabus when we both know you should be using the past tense on account of what happened. Right, I understand. My apologies for that. I'll correct it. I'm letting you off with a warning this time. We take grammar very seriously here at the Grammar Police. Yeah, Megabus in the northeastern United States, it doesn't exist anymore. What happened? Well, the short answer is bankruptcy, but basically, Megabus in the USA was owned by a large company known as Coach USA. Coach USA, they owned all sorts of smaller bus companies, but they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in June of 2024. Now, bankruptcy is a complicated legal process, so it took a few weeks for all the assets to be passed over to different companies, but after clearing several legal hurdles, last week Thursday on August 15th, 2024, it was announced that that day would be the very last day of Megabus service in the northeastern United States. From Friday, August 16th of 2024, the former Megabus routes would be taken over by Peter Pan. So that Friday, August 16th, I decided to go to Union Station and see what was left of Megabus. The intercity bus station is upstairs past the train gates, and up here I noticed that there were huge lines at the Peter Pan station. And there were a few signs here and there that still pointed to Megabus's existence. Even on day one, it was almost as if they had been completely erased. So Peter Pan has ordered a large fleet of new buses in anticipation of the takeover, and they claim this will help them lower their fares. I'm a little skeptical about that because I've ridden Megabus a few times, and there are a few things that I like. One is the ability to be able to reserve a seat, especially up front, but the other main thing is the low price. The last time I rode Megabus was just a week ago. I decided to go on a spontaneous trip to Philadelphia, so I booked tickets the night before for $20. But when I've had a little bit more time to plan a trip, I've been able to find tickets from New York to Washington for as low as $5 or $10. And I can't find anything on the Peter Pan website that's that cheap. So you can still use the Megabus website to book these Peter Pan bus trips. So I looked at one for that Friday, and the prices were $40. Now you may be thinking that's last minute, and I'm sure it matters a little bit, but still I've been able to find last minute Megabus tickets for $15 to $20. And if you switch to the Peter Pan website, the prices are a little bit lower, but still they're around that $35 to $40 range between New York and Washington, D.C. And I did try to book these about 3 months out, and they were maybe $5 cheaper than this. So a significant price hike versus Megabus, which is disappointing. By the way, I have done a trip report on Peter Pan. Click on the link above to watch that. So I'm a little bit disappointed because, like I said, there were some advantages to Megabus that I really appreciated. Now, let me take you back to the first time I ever rode Megabus. I was taking it overnight from New York City to Washington, D.C., and I had just come back from a really long train trip, so I wasn't planning to film, but when I got to the Megabus stop, I decided to film my experience anyways. I was going to title the video, "Is taking an overnight Megabus worth it?" and probably upload it sometime this fall. With all the recent events, that title wouldn't really make sense anymore. Is it worth it? I mean, sure, but there's no way to do it anymore. But I wanted to share with you the experience anyway. So please enjoy my overnight trip report from New York City to Washington, D.C. aboard Megabus. So I was scheduled to leave New York City at around 11 p.m. and get into Washington, D.C. about 4 in the morning. Yes, definitely not for the faint of heart.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
I had a little bit of time to hang around New York City, and then I decided to go to the Megabus stop nice and early. I just kind of glanced at my ticket and it said West 34th Street, so I took the subway to Penn Station and figured it would just be a short walk from there. It's time to walk to the bus. But it was definitely a little bit longer than I had anticipated. I'm sure food-wise that works. Not so sure about government-wise. Oh dang. I should have taken the 7 train. There we go, there's the Megabus. Wow. Literally keep walking like one more block and you would have been in New Jersey. And very wet. That's right, back when Megabus was running, they left from a street corner on the very western end of West 34th Street, pretty much next to the Hudson River. Now with the departure of Megabus, this stop too has ceased to exist. Now all Peter Pan buses leave from the Port Authority bus terminal, which is not too far away from here. But from what I read on some local news articles, it seems that some passengers weren't made aware of the change and were just waiting at 34th Street, with their bus of course never showing up. In fact, switching over from Megabus to Peter Pan has been a bit of a pain, as all your Megabus tickets are no longer valid, so those customers should have received emails from Megabus telling them to rebook their tickets on the Peter Pan website for no additional charge. Anyway, enough about Peter Pan. This video is still about Megabus, and we're going to board. So I paid a total of $19 for my ticket, which I booked, I think, about 2 weeks in advance. And then for an extra $4, I reserved a seat on the top floor in the front row, right by the window. I'd always wanted to sit up here just because of the experience, but also this was really nice because there are only a few seats on Megabus that are actually reserved, and by reserving one for such a low price, it meant that nobody would be in my seat. And if they were, I'd just tell them to move. Really, the legroom in this front row was great, and of course Megabus comes with power outlets to charge your devices, and it was kind of a crazy thought that my butt was just dangling above the staircase like that. But soon enough, it was time to depart towards Washington, D.C. Along the way, we would be stopping in Philadelphia and the White Marsh Mall outside of Baltimore. But first things first, we have to leave New York City. So we make some twists and turns and end up in the Lincoln Tunnel. The Lincoln Tunnel opened in 1937, and it's an important roadway that connects New Jersey and New York City by going underneath the Hudson River. Now, I had just finished some food that I had bought in the city, and this is what my fortune said. I'm glad I could rely on some orange chicken to tell me that I'm on the right bus. So as the clock struck midnight and we were traveling through New Jersey and eventually into Pennsylvania, I tried to catch some sleep, which is pretty doable when you're in motion. This Megabus trip was completely smooth with no issues. I have been on a Megabus trip once where we were delayed for an hour because one of the windshield wipers broke during a rainstorm, but thankfully no issues to report on this trip. However, when we approach cities, obviously the lights turn on, we slow down, people get up to grab their stuff, and it is hard to sleep through that. So if you're going for the best night of sleep of your life, maybe don't take an overnight bus, but I kind of feel like that's a very obvious thing to say. Anyway, the Megabus stop in Philadelphia is just 2 blocks away from 30th Street Station.
This is only stop in Philly.
And then we travel briefly through Delaware to Maryland, where I was able to take another pretty long nap. Can you call it a nap when it's at night? What's the definition of a nap anyways? The location that Megabus used to stop at in Baltimore, which Peter Pan now serves, is interesting because it's at White Marsh, which is miles and miles away from downtown. Really, I looked at the map and it felt like we were in the middle of nowhere. Honestly, don't fully understand why they stopped there. It's a Macy's parking lot miles away from the city, but I'm sure it's convenient for some suburban people. And then soon we were in Washington, D.C. It was about 4 in the morning. I was kind of groggy, but very grateful to be home after several days of traveling. And the best thing about Washington, D.C. is that Megabus stops at Union Station like all the other intercity buses. And Peter Pan still does the same thing. So if you book the trip now, you can just take the bus from Port Authority Bus Terminal to Washington Union Station, which at least location-wise is probably a better deal than what you had with Megabus. But honestly, I had no complaints about Megabus. Being able to reserve a seat and travel for that cheap through the night, really appreciated it, and it's something that I'm going to miss. Although I'm not saying I'll never take Peter Pan, only if Amtrak's really expensive. All right, you know, for what I paid, that was not bad at all. I would do that again. We're right on time. It was really cold and it was really bumpy, but the seats were a lot more comfortable than I thought they would be, and I did manage to sleep for a little bit, which is good. So I've been up for almost 24 hours now. It's good to be back in DC. Also, my bus driver has an interview with Greyhound next week, so best of luck, my guy. I really wish that circulator was not out of service. Anyway, I'm gonna figure out how to get home. Thank you for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome, and we'll see you next time. So in conclusion, I would recommend Megabus between New York and DC if it were still an option. I'm glad that Peter Pan stepped up to the plate, but I will really miss Megabus for several reasons, and I'm glad I got to experience them while they still existed. You never have to miss a Trains Are Awesome video, because all you have to do is hit the subscribe button and you'll see another one in just 3 days. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.